Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back to Sports Today. We bring you this video segment every single morning to help you catch up with things that have been taking place in the world of sport whilst you were catching up on some all important rest. Because let's face it, whilst you need sleep, I need sleep, the whole world needs sleep, the world of sport doesn't really sleep. There's always something or the other going on, and it can be a little tough at times to keep abreast with every single little development that is taking place in the world of sport. But worry not, that's why we are here, we've got you covered. And let's start off with some rather interesting IPL news that may have inadvertently been revealed by BCCI Secretary Shah as far as the IPL mega auction is concerned. Now, we all know that 2025 is going to be the year of the mega auction, so you're going to see teams potentially, let's say, have to release a lot of players, just retain maybe a few, and then pretty much start from scratch all over again. And a lot of people have been, let's say, split as far as the idea of a mega auction is concerned. Some say that it's a good thing because it gives teams a chance to reset. Others say that there's a lack of continuity that does harm long-term team building and identity building with fans. Well, for any of you all who are not fans of the mega auction, I've got some bad news because in a recent interview, Shah has revealed that the mega auction is going nowhere. It's going to be taking place once every 3 years, and it will be giving teams a chance to start afresh to ensure that you could be seeing, let's say, division as far as the winners are concerned. Now, again, this is something I'm not necessarily a fan of. I've always been steadfast in my view that the mega auction should be scrapped. You need to probably go with something of a draft kind of system, because I think the purpose of a mega auction in today's day and age is kind of done. You don't need to be doing that and giving teams such a let's say thing to play with. All it does is encourage short termism. If you want teams to start building long term, if you want them to start, let's say, focusing on developing talent, then you need to give them the option of retaining that talent for a longer time. And what's more, you need to be giving talent as well the option to negotiate with other franchises. Right now, players have literally next to no power when it comes to contract negotiations, and I think that's something that needs to change. That all will change once the auction process as it is done away with, done, dusted, finish it, finito, whatever. But it does seem like, at least for the long term, it is going to be in the plans. And I can't say I feel a way about it, but hey, at least we have some clarity in that regard. Speaking of some clarity, there was a lot of news, let's say, doing the rounds about what India's warm-up game would be in the T20 World Cup, or ahead of the T20 World Cup. And we'd reported over here, citing news reports, that India would only be playing one warm-up game. They didn't quite have the, let's say, bandwidth as far as travel and logistics were concerned to be playing a second warm-up game. And now we've got the news, and it is in fact confirmed, that India will be playing Bangladesh on June 1st in what is a sole warm-up game. The venue hasn't yet been decided. All we know is that it's going to be in the USA. My money says it'll probably be in New York, considering the fact that the team are going to be based there and will be taking on Ireland in their first game 4 days thereafter. But let's see if it is anywhere else. I would be a little surprised. Anyway, that's what we know as far as India's warm-up is concerned. One thing that we haven't really known a lot about is MS Dhoni and what his IPL future will hold. It's widely believed that this would be his last year, given that A, he gave up the captaincy ahead of the season, and B, it will be going into a mega auction year come 2025, which would mean potentially recommitting for another 3 seasons if he were to take up that option. But now we're getting to hear from a lot of people, or opinions, of course, have varied in this. Many people have said it will be. Suresh Raina has said that it won't be. In fact, he quoted it definitely not, saying that it's not going to be his last season. And another person who has now added his voice to the camp saying that it's not going to be Dhoni's last season is his former CSK teammate Robin Uthappa. In fact, Robin Uthappa said very clearly, and he was asked, he said, is this MS's last run? I don't think so personally. I don't think so. But he also added that CSK of this year, inconsistent as they may have been, will want to be spoiling RCB's party in the final group stage game that both teams will be playing ahead of the playoffs. Remember, if CSK beat RCB, then they are through to the playoffs. If RCB lose, CSK can still make it through, assuming it's a very small margin of defeat. But if RCB get the margin of victory that they require basis the net 100 calculations, then they could be knocking CSK out. That's potentially the only spot that is yet to be decided in the playoffs, because last night SRH ended up qualifying after a rain washout against the Gujarat Titans. Now, it does spell a bit of bad luck for Gujarat, because they were eliminated basis a rain washout in Ahmedabad when they were taking on KKR. That game was washed out. Now they've had back-to-back games washed out. And as a result, you had team skipper Shubman Gill, who of course was captaining the team for the first time, and really the first time he was a captain. He put out a very nice statement on social media, and he was thanking the fans. I'll just read it out for you quickly. He said, "Not the way we hoped it would end, but it's been a season full of learning and some great memories. I've been a part of this beautiful family for 3 years, and it's been a journey I'll never forget. I want to thank all the fans who supported us and showed us love when times were tough. Awade." That's what he said, and truth be told, I can understand where it is he's coming from. I'd be very surprised if GT don't end up retaining Gill and, of course, building the team around him. Because, again, this year was a bit of a learning curve year for them. They lost Hardik Pandya, were unable to properly replace him. There was no Mohammad Shami. So, definitely some struggles there. Do I believe that this team will come back stronger come 2025? Absolutely. Once they rebuild their squad, which is a bit needed given that Hardik leaving kind of destabilized it, I think they're definitely going to be a team to be reckoned with in the near future. Speaking of teams that have been rebuilt, let's switch our focus now from the world of cricket to the world of football and focus on Chelsea Football Club. They've had a good run recently and could potentially be qualifying for the Europa League if results go their way come this Sunday. But there's been plenty of speculation and pressure on the position of head coach Mauricio Pochettino. Now, Pochettino had signed a 2-year contract, and of course this year will be the first season of it done. But there was plenty of talk that some poor results had led to speculation over his future, and there will be an end of season review of sorts featuring all of the Stamford Bridge upper management hierarchy. The good news, if you're Pochettino and someone like me who wants him to continue, is that he does have the support of key figures at Chelsea before the season review that will potentially determine his future. Now, a lot of the top management do tend to back him, and whilst there may be a few people who are skeptical, it is also worth noting that as far as sacking him is concerned, well, they'll need a consensus, and right now they don't seem to have that consensus. So it does seem to be good news for Pochettino and potentially good news for Chelsea, because I really like the job that he's done. I think getting to sixth with the team that he's had and the kind of chaos, injury management issues that he's had to deal with is an overachievement by every stretch of the imagination. So let's see how exactly it is that goes. I, for one, would really want him to stay. Speaking of more football news, we've finally got to know what exactly it is that Leo Messi earned during his first season of the MLS. Why? Because the MLS did end up releasing, the amount of money that was paid out to athletes, and Leo Messi, his annualized pay that he got from his first contract with Inter Miami was over $20.4 million. $20.4 million. And why that's significant, why it's important, is because it exceeded the payrolls of all but 4 teams in the league. That shows you just how much money Messi is being paid. But MLS and the league itself will argue, as well as of course American football as a whole, that is a deal that has been well justified because of the amount of attention that is brought to the league, and more importantly, the money that is brought. I mean, Apple wouldn't have taken over and found this MLS season pass kind of a thing if not for Messi. So they're raking in the moolah as well, and absolutely, they've been doing well when it comes to monetizing Messi as much as possible. So it's a big benefit for the league. That $20.4 million would seem like a drop in the bucket considering the amount of money that they're going to be setting themselves up to make in the future. More football news, and it's good news if you're a Juventus fan, because they beat Atalanta 1-0 to win a record-extending 15th Coppa Italia and end a trophy drought that had been spanning 3 years. So good news for them, but it does seem like their manager Massimiliano Allegri, or Max Allegri as he's popularly known, may very well be headed on the outs. It's been an up and down season, and there's been murmurings of discontent coming from Turin. So it could very well be that Allegri is out, but if he is leaving, he's going to be signing off on an absolute high. Bit of tennis news, and we've been focusing a lot on the Italian Open, which has been taking place, because that's of course build up to the French Open Grand Slam. And Iga Swiatek has sealed her spot in the final of the women's singles side, that is. She beat Coco Gauff 6-4, 6-3 to secure her place in the final, and continuing on in that vein, she'll be playing Aryna Sabalenka in the final. Why? Because Sabalenka beat the American Danielle Collins 7-5, 6-2. So obviously that's a mouth-watering clash really if you're getting to see Swiatek versus Sabalenka in the final. Again, the Italian Open is not exactly one of the Grand Slams. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's an ATP 500 or WTA 500 at most. So it would definitely be a big boost for the tournament that 2 of the biggest stars will be playing in the final, and potentially could even be foreshadowing what it is that the French Open Grand Slam final looks like. Last bit of news, and it's India centric before we sign off, as is always the case. Indian Olympic and World Championships gold medalist, Neeraj Chopra, he has been a little bit active, obviously, this season because, of course, he's building up to the Paris Olympics. What did I say? He ended up competing in the Doha Diamond League. After that, he competed in the Federation Cup, and building up to the Paris Olympics. Well, he will be playing in another tournament, that is the Ostrava Golden Spikes Athletics meet that will be held on May 28th in Czechia. Now that's very, very interesting because it shows that he wants to continue being in tip-top competitive form heading into the Paris Olympics, and one hopes he can pick up a gold medal there as well as he did in the Federation Cup. But the key thing going into all of this is, of course, ensuring you stay in rhythm, ensuring that your preparation is great, because the only medal that's going to matter will be the Olympics one. And of course, we're all going to be cheering him on to bring home the gold once again from Paris. That's it from us in this edition of the Morning Rapid Sports today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, if you enjoy our work, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsTech app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. And stay tuned, we have plenty more coming your way. For now, from my side, it is goodbye.